Call and put options can feel complicated and incredibly overwhelming for beginners, but in this short and highly informative 10-minute video, I'll tell you two very simple, everyday stories to briefly illustrate the basic concepts of what put and call options are, before finally tying it all together with two concrete examples to see how these easy to understand concepts can be translated to calls and puts in real-world stock and option markets. So sit back, relax, and I'll see you on the other side.
This is Jennifer. Jennifer is selling her house for $250,000 in a neighbourhood close to a vacant parcel of land. This plot is also for sale and there are two interested parties. David is interested in acquiring the land to build a beach and leisure park. Charlie, on the other hand, needs a space to build a large manufacturing plant. Enter Kevin. Kevin is interested in paying Jennifer cash to buy the house and can afford the $250,000, but he won't have that available until next quarter. Of course, he is concerned that someone may come along in the meantime and buy the house before he has the funds on hand. Kevin decides to offer Jennifer $2,500 right now if she'll take the house off the market for the next 3 months and give him an option to buy it. This $2,500 is termed the option premium. The contract is known as a call option and entitles Kevin to buy the house for $250,000, which is referred to as the strike price, any time in the next 3 months before the expiration date. The deal is agreed, but what happens after 3 months have passed? There are essentially three outcomes in our story. In the first scenario, David buys the parcel of land. The addition of the beach and leisure park improved the quality of the neighbourhood, and this in turn leads to an increase in overall property prices. Let's assume the value of Jennifer's home increases to $300,000. In this case, Kevin, of course, will be happy to exercise his option and buy the house for $250,000. Jennifer, however, gets to keep the $2,500 option premium. In scenario 2, Charlie buys the land and builds his manufacturing plant. Residents become concerned as pollution from the factory causes air quality to deteriorate, and this results in a fall in real estate prices in the area. Jennifer's home is now only valued at $200,000. In this case, Kevin will not exercise the option to buy Jennifer's home. He will just walk away from the deal, having lost the option premium of $2,500. Finally, the parcel of land is unsold and the value of the home remains stable over the 3-month period at $250,000. In this case, either option might work for Kevin. He can elect to pay $250,000 to purchase the house or simply walk away from the deal, losing only $2,500. Kevin is essentially controlling a $250,000 asset for 3 months with just $2,500 in capital. Regardless of the outcome, the most Kevin can lose is the $2,500 he pays for the option. Jennifer, on the other hand, is happy to take the $2,500. She has no guarantee anyone else would buy the house at the current asking price, nor does she feel the land deal would be closed during the following 3-month period. In this contract, Kevin is the option buyer. He has the right, but not the obligation, to buy the house for $250,000 any time in the next 3 months, and for this right he pays the seller $2,500. In this contract, Jennifer is the option seller. She has the obligation to sell the house for $250,000 any time in the next 3 months if the buyer, Kevin, exercises his option. To assume this obligation, she is compensated with $2,500. So, with this example in mind, let's define a call option specifically in the context of the stock market. A call option is a contract between two counterparties to exchange a stock at the strike price by a predetermined date, known as the expiration date. One party, the buyer of the call, in our example Kevin, has the right but not an obligation to buy the stock at that strike price by the future date. The other party, the seller of the call, Jennifer in regard to the house sale, has the obligation to sell the stock to the buyer at the strike price if the buyer exercises the option. Let's take a look at an example. If the stock is trading at $100 and you think it's going to go up to $110, you might buy a $105 call option, which is currently priced at $2. If the stock rose to $110, that would allow you to buy the stock at $105, even though it's valued at $110, netting you a $3 profit on each share. Remember, we need to deduct the option premium of $2 from the $5 profit due to the appreciation in the stock price, as this is kept by the option seller. On the other hand, the person that sold you the call will be obligated to sell the stock at $105 at a loss of $3 per share. If the stock never rises above 105 by the expiration date, the call expires worthless, the call buyer is out $2, and the call seller keeps the option premium.
Okay, so that's call options covered. If you have any questions or feedback, be sure to drop them in the comments section below. I do respond to them all personally. If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I produce new videos every week. Thank you, and with that said, let's jump back into the video and take a look at put options.
This is Tom. Tom owns a $25,000 car that he depends on in order to run his local plumbing business. He's concerned that the car may be damaged during the day-to-day course of his work, or even worse, stolen. Tom decides to buy an insurance policy or put option on his truck for $25,000. This $25,000 is referred to as the put option strike price. Haley's Auto Insurance is able to provide this coverage for a limited 1-year time period for a cost of $1,000. Tom is covered for 1 year up to what is known as the expiration date of the option, and the cost of this policy, the $1,000, is termed the policy or put option premium. There are 3 possible outcomes in this story. In scenario 1, Tom's car is neither damaged nor stolen during the following year. As he has no need to make a claim, Haley simply keeps the $1,000 premium. Tom is resigned to losing this premium because of the protection and peace of mind the policy has provided him over the lifetime of the contract. In the second outcome, Tom unfortunately lends the car to his wife, Chris. The car is damaged in an accident and requires $5,000 worth of repairs. He exercises his policy or put option, and Haley pays him the $5,000 for the repairs as agreed. Tom, of course, is delighted. The protection he has purchased is in place to cover events just like this. Our final scenario is the worst case for Tom. His truck is stolen and requires replacing. Again, Tom exercises his put option, but this time for the full $25,000, which is the cost to replace the vehicle. Tom is, of course, very relieved to have purchased the put option to cover this huge, potentially devastating loss to his business. Haley's Auto Insurance is able to make a payment of this size because she has also sold policies to a number of other drivers, many of whom never make a claim or exercise their options during this 1-year period. So, with this example in mind, let's define a put option specifically in the context of the stock market. A put option is a contract between 2 counterparties to exchange a stock at the strike price by a predetermined date, known as the expiration date. One party, the buyer of the put, in our example Tom, has the right but not an obligation to sell the stock at the strike price by the future date. The other party, the seller of the put, Haley in regard to the insurance policy, has the obligation to buy the stock from the buyer at the strike price if the buyer exercises the option. Let's take a look at an example. If a stock is trading at $100 and you fear it might go down to $90, you might buy a 95 put option as insurance. The 95 put is currently priced at $2. If the stock falls to 90, that would allow you to sell the stock at 95, even though it's valued at 90, netting you a $3 profit on each share. Remember, we need to deduct the option premium of $2 from the $5 profit from the fall in the stock price, as this is kept by the option seller. On the other hand, the person that sold you the put will be obligated to buy the stock at 95 at a loss of $3 per share. If the stock never falls below $95 by the expiration date, the put expires worthless, the put buyer is out $2, and the put seller keeps the option premium.
If you made it this far, you made it to the end, and your support is very, very much appreciated. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel down here, or you can watch other option-related content by clicking somewhere over there. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.